that was presented by the proponents. And my question is, if we come up with something that's watered down from that, where's the sort of bottom line that they'll lose interest and back out and not want to pursue funding or pursue any of the other work that they've committed to? I guess I'm kind of looking at that, it's like if they presented 10 trails and we only have one, are they still interested?
Any other ideas that could really help Maggie? And we may, as Kathy suggested, maybe it's better to look at environmental stuff at the next meeting, so we might make a switch. But since Maggie's here and we've talked about design, thoughts, issues, for example, when I talked to several of you, you said parking was a real concern. What are the, kind of back to Ed's question, what are concerns that you would want to make sure that obviously get addressed through the environmental analysis, but also Maggie's work? What are some of the bottom line things? Got parking down, got what else?
Yeah, I think off-leash dog use will be a concern is if you really open it up and people do go off-leash with their dogs, that's a concern. I mean,
I don't know how to articulate this. I saw Maggie's map with a couple of wetlands identified and certainly speaks of critical areas. My experience walking through the green space is that wetlands and wet space are throughout, and I didn't see that in the way her map looked. So I guess I'm suggesting a liberal treatment, if that's a term, of the wet areas, the bogs, and also careful consideration to areas that really, in my view, and I think in Park's view, are completely inaccessible because they are in greater than the 40% slope. So showing that to us in the design and maybe even gathering more information regarding that would be helpful for me, because when we get in there, we really don't want to be digging up. It's wetlands sometimes in the winter, but it isn't anyway, the summer. Thank you.
Just a real quick observation in terms of maybe a common ground that we all have. Based on everything I've heard here tonight, it seems to me like almost everyone agrees that it's a good idea to open this space up, just that more people have access to nature and so forth. It seems like people are pro pedestrian walkway, and maybe everyone can agree that this outer loop is an okay idea. Am I incorrect in assuming that everyone believes that that's okay? Because I'm just trying to distill down what are we talking about as far as concerns. And the major concern that I've heard is these cross trails. And it's still not entirely clear to me if that's something that we should or shouldn't be talking about. But at any rate, is it fair to say that we all agree that opening this up to the general public is a good idea, and that walking paths in the outer loop is a good idea?
Phil, let me say that I think while many of us may preliminarily agree with that, I would be hesitant to commit one way or another until we see much more information. While I also applaud the notion that maybe we should start to identify common ground as soon as possible, I still would be a little bit concerned with making declarations one way or the other until we get a little further along.
That's fair.
One thing quickly to complicate things even further, I would go so far as to propose that we might want a cross trail for pedestrians, because my understanding is the wetlands are in the middle. And I've seen bike trails with a boardwalk over a wetlands that looks very, very nice. There's railings to keep people out of the swamp, and I wouldn't want bikers to be the only ones to have that access to the middle of the Cheasty Beanville. And it may be that a cross trail would be a wonderful way for pedestrians to go through the wetlands around the stream. It's pretty impressive to see up close.
Carol and Sarah.
I'm looking at the need to know, and I wanted to also interject that people should watch the, what was it, January 9th, is that correct? The Parks Board, and the video of that is fairly lengthy, but it's worth watching. There's a lot of discussion about some of the potential for surveys and wildlife issues and that sort of thing. And I also want to put on the need to know, the Cheasty Green Space VMP plan is got a lot of information about what's there, and I didn't really see much in the way of maps related to that up here today. There's some in the back of the room, but I think all that sort of information would be valuable to the members.
We'll make that VMP available on the web. There's several documents that you mentioned here for you.
Okay, Sarah, real quick, and then I want to open it up for public comment.
Real quick, in terms of cross trails and access, particularly to Kimball, there are opportunities outside this 29 acres for pedestrian access. And so I think considering that as an alternative, again, to cross trails that go through the wetlands and the richer parts of the forest might be something we could consider.
We need to open it up for public comment, so we'll do that. And then we'll have any closing comments. Okay, it's 8:09. We have, it's 8:10, 15 minutes, and we will end at 8:25. We've had lots of people sign up, so you're gonna need to be pretty darn quick, like just kind of a minute, because it looks, well, we have lots of folks, and then we have some names and question marks and a few no's here and there, so I'm not quite sure, but it looks like there's at least 14 people who want to speak. I also want to mention that if you want to submit a written comment, you don't get a chance tonight, there's forms over there to do that, which you can fill out and leave with me, and I also have my email on that comment form if you want to send me something in email. The comments will all be logged in, yes. And we will, yes, we'll make all the comments available to PAP members, and they will be public comment as well on the website. So Scott was a yes, now he's a no. How about Ryan Harris? I'm going to call out 3 or 4 names if you guys can come up and be ready. Ryan Harrison, Joel DeJong, Roger Pence, and Becca Au, A-U-E, I think. Ryan? Well, people really need to just take 1 minute, basically, so, go ahead, Ryan. Joel?
I think Ryan and Scott left.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm Joel.
All right, great.
And my name's Joel. I want to thank everybody for coming. I'm excited to have this PHA kickoff and such a great group of people. Thanks to Parks for working through the whole project. As a forest steward for Cheasty, I've been, an advocate for accessing, the green space for quite some time, and a part of the Cheasty Mountain View group that is responsible for raising money and implementing the project. So thanks everybody for coming. I want to talk specifically about the need to know us as a group and the vision that we put forward for this, because it's really ignited the volunteer base in a way that's captured the imagination of the local community and of the youth, and it's really engaged the local schools in a new way, and gotten 900 plus volunteers out. So please find out about us, and then in terms of the DON grant, That was a grant that we got specifically for the perimeter loop trail. The vision was much bigger than that, so please check that out too. Thank you.
Thanks, Joel. Roger?
Hi, I'm Roger Pence. I got three quick things here. First, I need to second the comments about the lack of representation on this path. Where we need more women, we need more people of color. Where are the youth that this is supposed to be for? Where are the immigrants? This is a mess. I suggested increasing the number to 15, but was told some time ago no, the number had to be 12. I'm a literalist when it comes to the English language. When I read the city council ordinance, when I read the call to invite people to join the PAT, and I see only references to the perimeter trail as as the project, I believe that. And when I come here and see this expanded scope with the cross trails and things that we had specifically been told were not part of the project, that's shocking. This is a pilot project, and you can't be designing addendums to the pilot before you know if the pilot's going to work. So we've got to build the pilot, phase one, and evaluate it for 3 years, and then decide what we want to do with cross trails and other things. We got to stick with the program. Thank you.
Thanks, Roger. Becca? Becca? Okay. Tom Vile, D. Dunbar, Rick Paulson, Susan Zeman. Tom?
Hi, I'm Tom Vile. What I would consider irrational fear of mountain bikers is somewhat palpable to me in the room, and I would just like to reassure folks that we're not bad people, and we're not a threat to your neighborhood, and we're not a threat to the green space. Rather, we're a huge force that can be mobilized to help develop that green space. The second thing I'd like to observe is there's been a half a dozen different expressions of concern about representation in this group. I find it a bit concerning that people are deeply concerned it's only 1/3 women and 2/3 men, but no one seems concerned that it's only 8% mountain bikers on a group that's supposed to be planning what is in part a bike park. And at that, there's not a single person here that spoke out in support of cross trails, which have been something that's been in the vision. I've been following this for 2 years, and it's been included in every description I've ever seen. So I think it would be appropriate that there's at least some advocacy on the board to help people understand what those are and are not, and what benefits they might bring.
D. Dunbar?
Dee and Rick have both left.
Okay. Are you?
I'm Susan Zeman.
Okay.
So I have a couple things to say. The most important one is that I'm one of the Friends of Cheasty Green Space at Mountain View, and we have been working to restore and build trails in the southern 10 acres of the forest. So I just want to kind of make sure that as we're talking about baseline data and comparing environmental things going forward, I want to point out that the southern 10 acres was in the same state essentially as the bigger section that we're talking about up north. So I think it's a great opportunity to look at what's happening in the southern 10 acres, and that gives us some idea of what will be happening in 5 to 7 years in the northern 10 acres as well after we build the trails. But more importantly, I know Roger asked this question about the scope of the project, and I do want to reiterate what Joel said, which is that the DON grant is to fund the perimeter loop trail. But this project has a lot more potential. Certainly that's part of our vision, and I respect the role of the PAD to either discuss future phases or not, depending on a UC bid. Thank you.
Jay Garson, Celeste Gilman, and Jim Dennison.
Hello, I'm Jay Garrison. I live in New Rainer Vista, and I am on the steering committee with the Prince of Cheasty Green Space Mountain View. My way here today, I walked past 3 of my neighborhood youth, 2 girls and a boy riding their bicycles, all of color, down the center of MLK. I admit disappointment not seeing them or any of my other 2,000 plus New Rainer Vista neighbors on the PAT, and I ask that the PAT carefully consider itself in the homes of my community and my neighbors and be considerate of its needs, as well as considering both the impact to the environment and the social impact of this project. Right now, my community is currently separated from Cheasty by an 8-foot tall cyclone fence, and the children in my neighborhood have to play in the city streets and alleys. And I'm sorry, but my neighborhood suffered from a tragedy because on Tuesday, Sakina, one of the small little girls in my neighborhood, she's 7 years old, was hit by a car at Milkay. This is her little sister and her friends. My daughter plays with them as well. These are real people that need to be considered with this project because this will make a difference in their lives. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. Celeste?
My name is Celeste Gilman. I am the president of the New Rainier Vista Homeowners Association. Sorry. We have been, and this is my daughter Paella. She is well trained at going to meetings because we have been going to meetings for this project since the first one I can remember. She was tottering around at Beacon Hill and pulling on Sally Bagshaw's skirts when she was, or whatever, when she was not even just barely walking. So I grew up in the Northwest. The forest is so important, and my dream is that we will be able to walk to Kimball through the forest, that the young people in our neighborhood need a safe place. Our board has voted in support of this project multiple times. We would love to see the activation. We need more activity happening, and we want to see the project move forward with the vision that has originated in the community. And thank you for joining this project. It is such a powerful project. We go to work parties, and Paella, do you like doing the work parties in Cheasty Green Space? Yeah. So it's a lot of fun and welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Dennison?